All right. Well, thank you for showing up and engaging in a marketing workshop. We are going through a series right now on how to build your business and more particularly how to build your brand, because we all know that advertising and marketing is a whole concept that oftentimes we're not trained in as we jump into the real estate business. And yet it's a critical component of us being successful. So today, we're going to jump into why search engine success and how does that help you with getting more exposure. And I'll share a little bit of some personal stories, but also I want to take a moment to recap where we're going with this one and what happened last week so that you're on the same page. So, first of all, this is the series that we are going through. We talked about personal branding last week, and now we are getting into what search engines will do for you as you set up yourself to really have some exposure through great places where people are already online searching. With that, going back to the recap or the workshop purpose, sorry, for us right now, I really want to help you guys step into the mindset of the consumer. That's primary because oftentimes we go about our business not realizing what the consumer is actually looking for or how they're searching. And so we're not presenting ourselves in a way that makes sense to them. And then helping you with, again, working through creating a personal presence online so that wherever consumers are looking, you're on their radar. And that is one way just to build the funnel of leads that needs to come into your business. And then, of course, basic understanding of digital marketing and some better visibility is hopefully the results we're going to get out of this. So it's a shift in mindset for why marketing matters and what we can do in just small ways to take steps that are purposeful towards helping us get to a place where we are top of mind for people in the marketplace. So, first of all, we talked about branding last time, and branding realistically is just a concept. It's a way to identify with a company. And we talked about common brands that we all love, common brands that we recognize because they've done such a good job with building an identity that people connect to, but also they do the marketing to stay top of mind. And then we went through a discovery process to really talk about what are you doing, who are you serving, and what do you offer that's unique to you? Because if you don't know how to share your story, you're going to have a very hard time standing out in a marketplace full of thousands of other agents. We can't just be vanilla, or agents that are more tempted in this kind of market, which is shifting to get out of the business because they really can't get the traction to build their business appropriately. So I want to help you not be vanilla and to find your unique flavor so that you can connect with the right kind of consumer in the right ways. And hopefully that allows you over time to really build a quality business like I have and like so many other agents. Marketing. As a recap, again, marketing is just the action of promoting your business. So, marketing is a whole lot of different things that puts you in front of the consumers. Some of the most common marketing that the agents do is mailing. We do farming. We will do things like pop buys, or I do client parties, digital marketing, which is social media and internet advertising, paid advertising. We also do marketing through phone calls and open houses and things like that. So, marketing is getting your brand in front of someone so that they can see it and become acquainted with it. And with that, I want to jump into how does that really affect you as you drive traffic to your business? Because you are an entrepreneur and you're responsible for running your business and making sure that it gets seen. I don't know if either of you have ever seen an advertising funnel. It's a very common thing that people use in the marketing world to describe the process of driving a consumer from the very first moment that they just become aware of who you are, all the way to the moment they make a decision to work with you. And so this
Christy,
funnel, yeah,
the first word is misspelled.
okay. Well, that was an image I grabbed offline, so I'm just showing the
Yeah,
funnel so
okay.
that you can see.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't create it. It's just a there, but this is a funnel that helps you guys identify how does someone go through the process of making a choice. And so maybe if you think back to something recently that you purchased, and if it was something that you were already aware of, maybe you had been thinking about it or considering it for a while, or maybe you walked into a store, you had no idea what it was, but it's stood out to you, and so you considered it, and you decided, okay, I would rather have this than that, and you made the decision to actually do the purchase there on the spot. If advertising is doing what it really should do, it should get you to a decision-making process as quickly as possible. And we want consumers to do the same, right? We want them to decide that they want to work with us sooner, because the more that they interview more people, the more time they take to think about it, oftentimes the more confused they become. And so our advertising should always drive consumers to identify us as a possible choice for their business, and to make a decision to work with us so that they can find their next home. And your job is to make sure that they know they have that choice. If you aren't seen and you aren't a choice to them, they're going to find someone else. And so what we're going to jump into today is really that broad exposure of where do people typically start. And most of the time, anyone who's moving to a new area, or maybe who is considering a change and doesn't have a trusted advisor in real estate, they're going to use websites, SEO, other ways of getting some kind of connection to an agent. It's one of the reasons why Zillow has capitalized on the search engine component and has such a large demographic of people that use their site to look for real estate, but also those people are asking for an agent, and they are paying a premium, those agents, to show up and be one of the ones that says, hey, I'm an option for you. And so I want to show you ways you can do that for free, because it's a great way to diversify your marketing, but it's also a great way to make sure that you're staying top of mind without having to have a bunch of money paid out for things that maybe are not going to be impactful, because we know the percentages of conversion are quite low. So I'm going to jump into real quickly a couple of digital marketing types. This is stuff that you guys are very familiar with, so I don't want to belabor this, but I just wanted to make sure I brought it to your attention. First of all, having website and even having a mobile app is one way that you can do digital advertising for yourself. You have the ability to customize your current website and make it into what you want it to be, so it shares your story. On mine, I have my vision and values. I also have a video on there that explains who I am. And so it helps people say, okay, yes, this isn't someone I would consider working with, or no, I'm turned off by her, I'm going to go look for someone else. But what happens through that process is that at least I'm being connected to the people who identify with what I'm offering. The mobile app is the same way. I'm putting it in the hands of all of my past clients or my sphere of influence, so that when they're ready to look for a home, they've got that ready in their palm, in the palm of their hand, and it's branded to me. So at the click of a button at the top of that app, they can always message me or call me. And hopefully that way, when they're ready to make that move, I'm top of mind. Internet is another way that we do marketing for our businesses. I don't know of a major business out there that we recognize that doesn't do some kind of internet marketing. Could you imagine if all of a sudden, Coca-Cola decided they just wanted to stop all advertising? That would be insane. They know that they have market share because of the advertising they do. And we need to treat our businesses the same. We need to look at how do we get ourselves promoted in a way that's attractive to others. Megaphone offers you that opportunity without having to spend the time to learn what digital advertising should look like. You can, with a click of a button in less than a minute, have ads going for yourself to either retarget people, to geo-target a specific area, or to farm specific neighborhoods. You can also obviously advertise specific properties that you have. And then the last in here is social media. And social media is just a great way to connect with people in a more personal way, rather than spamming them with business solicitations, if you will. It's building a rapport. And so there's a warm lead that typically comes from social media if someone direct messages you or reaches out after seeing things you're doing on social media, because they already have a feeling that they know you. It wasn't an advertisement in the sense that it was just a solicitation. It's more of a, I saw something that you talked about, or something that you said or posted about that resonated with me. And so we have a lot of resources for you guys to utilize in social media. And I would certainly recommend that you have a calendar where you are consistently leveraging social media as part of your marketing strategy, so that you can, again, put out good content, but you also stay top of mind with people. Any questions on on how the marketing and digital advertising works so far? Ready to jump in?
I'm pretty impressed with Megaphone, and I need to spend a lot more time on it. And
Yeah, it has
uh,
some great components to it for sure.
yeah, right
Um,
now I need all the free marketing I can get.
yeah, well, we're going to jump into that. Hopefully, I know both of you were great enough to do your homework, so I appreciate that because when we jump into this, I think it's going to make it easier. Wanted to one more time just also talk about how does working the way through the funnel happen for consumers. So the first time that someone comes into contact with you, they don't know who you are, they don't know what you do, but maybe through your marketing, they become aware of you and they find something that you've written about, something that you've promoted, something that maybe you posted on social, or maybe it was a digital ad. They become a visitor to your world. And hopefully, as you drive them down that funnel, they become a prospect, which then raises their hand and said, yes, I'm interested in making a move. And at that point, they're an actual lead, right? Then we've got someone with a motivation to make a move, and we have what's called opportunity. The challenge I see with a lot of agents is they jump into sales and they're looking just for the immediate opportunity, but they're missing the point that if they start with marketing, they can fill the pipeline a whole lot better. Conversely, what I'm also seeing is that most agents are not continuing this funnel on the other end. Once someone has become a customer, there's an entirely new funnel that happens on the other side to keep them in your sphere of influence, to keep them engaged, and to make sure that they're bringing you repeat and referral business. And so I will encourage you, if you do not already have a plan and some systems behind that plan to touch people before the sale, during the sale, and after the sale, then that needs to be something that you work on to shore up your business, because you should have systems in place for all three phases. We need to be marketing up front because we're in a competitive field with thousands of agents. We also need to provide excellent service so that people become a fan. And then we need to continue marketing on the other end. With that, I'm going to jump into how do you get started with some of the marketing? And I'll share with you some of the things I've done. So, first of all, this is kind of a fun one. Have you Googled yourself lately? Have either of you gone to Google and just seen what?
I have.
Okay. Anything that was interesting to you? Did anything come up that you didn't expect?
My age did not like that.
I'm going to give you a quick tip because this is something that is really helpful for you guys. And this is going to be part of your homework as well as we get to the end. But I'm going to have you actually open an incognito window when you're in front of your computer. And it's a very quick, easy way to look at stuff. You'll see that I just clicked on the three dots in a Chrome window, dropped down and selected new incognito window. From that, you'll see at the bottom right, that is the picture of what it looks like when you go incognito. It becomes a black screen. And what it means is it removes all of the filters and cookies and preferences that typically are there so that you get actual unique results that you would see as if you were sitting in the shoes of someone else. When you do that, you're able to see a more true picture of how things show up. And so this is the first step that I want to talk to you guys about in doing some research. And I hope that you take this to heart and actually do some of the research. Is think about what would happen if you found out that maybe you had an opportunity to move to Iowa, and you're thinking, I don't know anyone in Iowa. What in the world am I gonna, what am I gonna do? What's my first step? I've got to find a house to live. I've got to find a new job. What is the typical consumer going to do? They're going to go on Google. They're going to search for job ads. They're going to search for houses, and they're going to look for a realtor probably in that other area. And so this is happening every single day with thousands of people who are relocating to the Phoenix area, and they don't know anyone yet. And they now need to get connected. And so I want you to think about, as you were putting yourself in their shoes, what would you search for? And if you have not done this before, I would open up an incognito window and I would put in whatever you would search for if you had to make a move unexpectedly to a place where you don't know anyone. I gave a couple of examples down here below because I think it's important for us to think about, okay, what might someone put? They might search Arizona real estate agent, maybe the best agent, maybe a Phoenix realtor, whatever terms. Most consumers, I'll say, don't use the term realtor. Most of them will use real estate agent. That's a more common phrase. But again, if you're using that incognito window, you might be surprised to see what comes up. And what likely is coming up is your competition. And I would say,
I just did it.
Perfect. And I would say click on some of those and look at where it takes you. Look at their landing page, look at the messaging, look at the images, and see if what you're offering to the consumers is similar, or if maybe you need to up your game. Because these are all things that you can do free of charge to create an impression. So I'm going to jump into how do you do that with Google, because I think that's the first step. Is Google will always promote what they own first, right? That's inherent in how they do business. And so with that, we're going to see that we're going to find that there's some things we need to do on Google just to present ourselves in a better way. So before we start building out our profile, one of the things I want you guys to think about is, as you're looking at these results that you find, what are they promoting? What are you seeing in the way that they're presenting themselves? And is it consistent? Is it attractive? And are they offering a solution that you would be interested in? Because that's what we want to do. We want to present solutions for the consumer. Typically in business, there's three options that consumers debate about when they're selecting a product or a service. Excuse me. The first is going to be price. Some people are going to look for a bargain. For others, that's a lesser issue, and they don't care. Some people will go shop at Walmart. Other people will go to Nordstrom's. There's an option for everyone, right, in our marketplace, and that's a beautiful thing. But there are going to be discount brokers out there, correct? We have some competing brokers who don't care what they charge because they have no value to what they do. They're just willing to grab at anything that they can. And so because they're not value-based, they're going to compete on price. And you have to decide now, are you going to be a part of that game and play in that competition, or are you going to step out of that and compete in the other areas? The next thing is speed. You know, a lot of that has to do with how quickly do they respond? Are they efficient at what they do? Do they have systems or teams in place? Are they advertising they're the fastest to sell or the lowest days on market? Those are things that consumers, again, are drawn to, and they want to know, are those things that are going to add value to me in my world? And the last is quality. There are obviously, as we look at services, if I needed to find a new dog groomer, I would be evaluating maybe these same things, and I would look at all of them and weigh them depending on what my value systems are. But for me, I would want to know, is there someone who has used them before and maybe written a testimonial, or I've seen their dog and I know that they do a quality job? How many years of experience do they have? Maybe how have they ever been sued for injuring an animal or whatever while they were grooming? Those are the kinds of things that often come up when we're looking at how does a company perform, or how does a service get valued. And so I want you guys to put some thought behind, what are you communicating as you promote yourself? And you know, are one of these things the thing you want to promote the most? Because again, your voice and your story is going to connect with the consumer that identifies with the values you identify with. And if you don't want to serve people that maybe have different value sets, it's really important you get clear and articulate through your advertising what it is you do, so that the right people find you and the wrong people leave you alone. We were just talking about that right before this started. I've got a consumer right now that I'm not sure I want to work with them. The phone calls have been abrasive and demanding and opinionated, and it's just not a good fit. As far as my ideal client is going to be someone who is appreciative and loyal and values what I do. And so when you start to identify consumers who don't have those characteristics, it's easy to say, nope, next. I've got plenty of business. I don't need to take this. And so my hope is that as we build your funnel of leads, that then you have opportunities to make that choice because the more leads you have, the more choice you have about who you want to work with. All right, so consider the message. We're going to talk about this as we go through, and this is a big component of what we covered the last time, but I want to revisit this because it's so important as you're looking at these other agents in the incognito window and seeing what message they are providing. It's important to assess, what is my message? Consider that you use words or phrases consistently that mean something to you, that will convey a response. And then use language that is attracting your target market. I know people that have the SRES designation and they're targeting senior citizens. They're going to use a very different language set than those that are on TikTok or Instagram trying to build their business to millennials, right? It's a different target market. And so think about the words you use. Inherently, hopefully, what language you use is going to just naturally attract people who share similar maybe education levels, or maybe language style, or just the again, the tone of the language. But you want to make sure, if you're targeting, for instance, a golf clientele, because that's your target market, you're going to use phrases that revolve around golfing and things that other golfers would identify with. And then the last thing is ensure consistency. This is the one thing that I think a lot of agents really struggle with. And I Googled people. I had a recruiting appointment this morning, went to Google the guy just to see who he is. Sure enough, no profile on realtor.com, half done profile on Zillow, no profile or website that, and so there's just no consistency. If I were a consumer and I happened to come across him on Zillow and saw, no headshot, no bio, couple of sales, I would not be impressed. I would be moving on to the next agent. And so, again, I encourage you guys to look at, as we go through this series, how can you make sure that you are consistently using the same images, the same branding, the same phrases across all these different platforms to really make an impact. I used the graphic there for Remax. When you see an ad for Remax that it's Remax. It just has that same consistent look and feel, the boldness, the Gotham font, the red over white over blue, very clean, warm images of people. It has its own feel, and that dynamic is communicated through all of the advertising they do. And so we should obviously emulate them in the way that we promote ourselves. We need to find our unique voice and then convey that to them. So let's talk about how, because we want to get into how do we build awareness. And when I talk about search engines, that is the number one way consumers search for things. I could have included YouTube in here because it is the largest search engine, but technically, again, that's housing for videos, and we're going to cover that at a later class. So what I really wanted to focus on was the search engines that are most commonly used for consumers to find something. The biggest one, of course, being Google. We also have things like Bing and Yahoo and Ask. These are companies that have big tech influence. And so it's not just their website that gets a hit when someone goes to it, but they have a prolific impact on a lot of other websites. And so, for instance, we're going to talk about how does having a website or a profile on one of these work? Well, for instance, I went to use a couple of different websites to look at something. And I will tell you that when I used Google, I had one set of results come up, but when I use something like Yahoo, a different set of results come up. And the reason being is Yahoo is actually supported by Yelp. And so if you have no profile on Yelp, you're not getting seen in the results of this search engine. That's a big deal. You want to be everywhere someone can find you so that you have more opportunities than you know what to do with. So we're going to talk about how do you build that, because this is where rubber hits the road, right? So the first step is registering your business. I talked about Google last time, and I asked you guys to go ahead and order your Google business so that you could set up your ad. If you haven't already done that, the website is right here. It's google.com/business, and you can register yourself as a business on Google, and then you will show up on their search results on the right-hand side with all of the information as you see here in the image. And that is a wonderful thing. You can gain traction by becoming a verified business, and then you can gain even more traction by doing some paid ads with them so that you continue to funnel business to their website. They want to, of course, grow their audience. And so if they can grow their audience by you also growing yours, that's a partnership they're into. And so running your business on Google is a great way to get some traction. The second way is through Yelp. I just mentioned that Bing and Yahoo are actually powered by Yelp. So if you weren't aware of that and you have never set yourself up with a Yelp profile, I would recommend that you take care of that today. That will give you the ability to start soliciting some testimonials, building out your profile, and of course, getting seen on these other search engines that are very powerful. There are a lot of other things. So for instance, Alexa through Google will use the Google business to recommend services. So if someone is using Alexa, they are able to request businesses like find a local agent in Phoenix, and it will actually show up. They will recommend you. Yeah.
My Alexa is going off because you're saying Alexa.
That's hilarious. They're listening. But the same holds true for things like Siri. So if you don't know this, Apple uses Siri, and Siri actually uses Yelp as recommendations for services that you request. So again, if you don't have your business profile set up, you're missing out on a huge target audience. And this is a simple, free way for you to get a lot of exposure to your business. So you ready to set up your profiles and make sure that they're excellent?
Yes, I've already got Google set up.
Good.
I need to do Yelp.
Okay. And then once you've got it set up, of course, again, it's going back and assessing, does it convey the same imaging, the same logos, the same style, AdWords, and so on across all these platforms so that it feels and looks consistent to your theme, your business. The next thing I want to talk about is HomeSnap. And this is a partnership that Remax has with a really amazing service provider. It's actually one of the best mobile apps I've found, truthfully, for clients. I don't direct as many to them because I really want them using our Remax app. But again, this is another way that you can provide value to your clients. And you can also do, whether it's free services or paid services. So the free services set up your profile so you're listed amongst them as an agent in the marketplace. It's a great way to get some exposure. The paid services you have are things like this, where you can advertise a listing. I do that with all of my listings. I actually have it set up to automatically do the moment I have a listing, and they will advertise on Google, on Facebook, on Waze, and on Instagram for me immediately. So I am getting exposure, and that's how I get some of my leads. They have concierge, which is actually more like an ISA. So they will actually qualify. They will list you as a verified business on Google, and then they will qualify leads and calls to that business for you and do the handoff. It's a great way if you're growing or scaling your business and you don't have time to follow up on all of the leads you get, to again have them do that hard lifting. And so you would partner paid ads for them to generate leads with their concierge service, which qualifies the leads and does the warm handoff. But again, this is a great way for you to just take a look at another option that maybe you haven't considered before and get your face and name set up so that as consumers are searching through Google, they're finding you. The other thing that HomeSnap does for me is it requests testimonials from my clients. So I have the ability to collect those testimonials. They will post them to Google for me, and then they will also post them to my realtor.com profile. So wonderful service that allows me to get some leverage through testimonials with my clients. And I would suspect when you sign up, same thing would happen. I believe they automate when you close a listing that prompt to send out the request for the testimonials. How many of you are consistently asking for a review from every client you close?
I am not.
Yeah. Okay. So those are, again, very powerful because I know, that it makes a difference. I can tell you from example, I will go on Amazon to look for something, right? A product. And I'm looking at reviews when I'm evaluating, especially if it's something that there's a lot of variety or there's a lot of different variations. I want to know what is the real difference? Because on the surface, it may look like they're all the same, but you look at the reviews, you can see some that are 2 stars, some that are 4 stars, and some that are 4.5 stars. And you think, okay, obviously more people trust this one, whatever, for whatever reason, the quality or the brand or the aesthetics or whatever. And so if you are getting reviews, 5-star reviews, it is going to increase the amount of eyeballs on you, because the algorithms that these websites use will promote you more often. But secondly, you will also have more people taking a look at your profile simply because you're already ranked higher than other people. And so that's an important component.
How do you get, so I got out of the habit when I tried a long time ago getting reviews on Zillow. Zillow made people jump through hoops in order to get a review, and they just ended up not doing it. So how do you get people to do it? That's the problem.
Sure. So a lot of different ways you could do it. We have a process that I send as a follow-up, and I've heard different theories. So, I'm one of those that says whatever works for you. I will have people sometimes do it at the closing table. So while after the documents have been signed and title has gone to make copies of everything and bring back that package for them, they'll actually have it pulled up on their iPad and just say, hey, would you mind while we're sitting here just to take 30 seconds and write a quick review? And that way it's done before the sale's even closed, and they don't have to think about it. Because of course, trying to catch them while they're in the process of moving and unpacking and everything else is hard. And if you wait more than 90 days, most of the time they can't remember the things that stood out that made it a special experience with you. That memory starts to fade.
So you have title do it?
No, not have title do it. I will do it while I'm in the signing with them.
I don't go to signings.
Okay, so that's maybe one of the things that you could shift with your business is show up and make that a special moment. Take a picture with the key to the house. Have a bottle of champagne that you give them, or ask them for that review. It can be part of that step-by-step hand-holding that really makes an impression that says, wow, this person really showed up. The last one I showed up to, I will tell you, the client was so surprised. He goes, wow, I can't believe you're here. Thank you. He actually said, thank you for making time for this. Like, he thought I was going out of my way to do something. And I'm like, this is my job, is to show up for you and make sure these documents are correct and see this, that it goes smoothly. And I've had a couple of signing appointments where things did not go smoothly, and we had to actually get corrections done or other things done while I was there. So, but that's one way. The other way is I will send a follow-up email if I didn't get the thing, or maybe they had a mobile notary and I couldn't be there. I have a follow-up email. I have my top 3 referral websites in there, and every time I send it out, I just rotate it so that I get different testimonials on different sites over time. My assumption is that most people, absolutely. My assumption is that most people are only going to check mark the top 1. They're not going to go and write 3 different reviews.
Right.
And I know that. So instinctively, as long as I'm the one facilitating that they pick the top 1, it's great. And I will rotate typically between Google, between Zillow, because it's the #1 real estate website, Google being the #1 search engine, and then Facebook, which is the #1 social media site. So I will generally rotate between those 3 most often. Yelp is also on there. And so I would recommend getting into the habit of having that follow-up email as part of your follow-up process to the closing, and see if you can get some additional testimonials. All good?
Yeah.
I think if you guys are doing some of the things that I'm doing over time, again, it's not going to happen immediately, but over the years, you start to accumulate a presence in the marketplace that speaks for itself. And that's really what's powerful about advertising, is that it's one thing to become the first thing someone thinks of, which, we'd love that to happen, but it all starts with awareness. It starts with making sure people even know they have a choice and that you're one of the top choices. And then it helps to move them through that funnel to make sure that they understand you're a trusted voice, you're an experienced agent, you have great systems and processes in place to make it a smooth sale for them. You have the wisdom to coach them through ups and downs in the sale. And they get that a lot of times through testimonials. Verification of a third party is such a powerful tool. And so my hope is, through this very quick introduction into what it looks like to do search engine marketing is that you guys set up the profiles on these 3 major websites for exposure, and then you start to ask for the testimonials to get traction and have that 5-star rating on each of those sites. That will make a big difference. So quick testimonial from me, I will tell you, I have closed 2 sales this year just from Google. I have a great profile. I have, again, as you know, tried to do 5-star reviews from clients through my rotation system. And with that, I have a handful of really good reviews on there. The other thing that Google notices is how often those testimonials are coming in. So if you go 6 months without anyone writing to that account, it will actually demote you as far as how they present you to the marketplace when someone's looking and get search results. So one of the key factors for Google is making sure that you have fresh testimonials written in there every couple of months. And so whether that's clients that you just worked with, or whether you run an incentive campaign to get past clients to write for you, I will tell you that that has been a big boost for my business, because those come in without me doing a single thing. I get the sale, I close the sale, and it was free advertising. I have no referral fee to pay out to any agent. I had no advertising I paid money towards. I just got another client, and that client now has a whole sphere of influence that I have access to because I served them well. And so when you start to have that snowball effect of building up a really solid database of 200 or 300 people you've served, and then those people can be your advocate in the marketplace, it's a great way to build your business. And so I would just encourage you guys to start taking the steps to build that out now. And it won't happen overnight, but over time, you'll certainly see a big difference to your business. It's a powerful thing. Action steps for you guys as we leave this, because I want to make sure that you're doing the things that I know will help you get smarter and sharper and better. First, Google your competition. Find out who's showing up on the search results, what that looks like, and figure out what things you might want to change in the way that you're presenting yourself online so that you can show up in those results too. Then Google yourself. See what you look like from the eyes of a consumer who's never seen you. If you're not showing up in the results, that in and of itself is a problem, right? So that means we need greater visibility so consumers know they have a choice and that you're a great option for them. Third, make sure you're registering yourself as a business on Google and Yelp. Get your presence out there. Make sure that it's showing up when people are doing searches so that you can be found. Again, make sure you're consistent on using the logos and images and wording that is going to promote your story and your values so that the right people connect with you. And then speak the language consistently. I have a friend who, as an example, she has a cartoon of herself that was made, and that is her marketing. She does that on everything she prints, every website, every social. And this Bitmoji that she uses has become very iconic for her. And I love that she's consistent in using it because everybody recognizes her for it. And that's the power behind building a consistent brand, is that people recognize you. I'm sure we all can think of agents in our marketplace that if I were to ask you who is a top agent, they would come to mind. What's funny, and I can tell you this in truth from a lot of the marketing I do to recruits and then the research I do about agents, is that those who come to you as top of mind aren't often the highest producing agents. What's interesting is they've built a brand and a marketing message that is recognizable. So they're getting more business and they're scaling, but it doesn't mean they're the top producer yet. And so you too can build a marketing presence that communicates to people that you are highly productive and quality, and draw in more opportunities than maybe you have with what you're doing now. And so I encourage you just to think about perception is reality in the marketplace. And so what perception are you giving to consumers? If you're not giving one, it's time to give one. And if you've got one, but it's maybe not excellent, it's time to improve it so that you can hopefully attract the right kinds of people and have more opportunities to do more business. Any questions from you guys? Anything that you want me to cover in depth or answer for you?
I personally, once I get this done, would like you to review what I've done.
Excellent. Happy to. Would love that. Yeah, having a second set of eyes on it, or even asking a friend that isn't in the real estate space for their opinion is always a great way to keep improving and tweaking what you're putting out. But I'm more than happy to. So send me the links once you get them set up, and I'll take a look at them. Anything else that I can answer for you?
LaTanya?
No, I'm good.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Then with that, I'm going to sign off. And thanks so much, guys, for showing